Welcome everybody to the line change. In this video, we're going to be discussing Thatcher Demko, and we're going to be posing the question, should the Canucks shut him down for the rest of the season? And yeah, so we're going to dive right into that and ask the question. Essentially want to pose the question to you guys. I already have my own opinion on this idea of shutting him down for the remainder of the season, but I really want to know what you guys think, so you guys can go ahead and post in the comment section down below. Do you guys agree with me on this? Do you guys think that this is something that the Canucks should at least look into doing? We're going to break it all down here and discuss it. We're going to go over his injury history. We're also going to go over just the amount of time he's missed in the last few years as well. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Everyone knows by now that Demko left the game against Toronto on February the 8th, just before the Four Nations break. And that is the newest injury. And of course, they still haven't exactly told us what exactly the injury is. All they've told us is that it is a lower body injury and that it is not the knee. That's all they've said. They still haven't said what part of his body it is exactly, so that's frustrating to know. Since that game against Toronto, he's missed now 8 games with that injury. It's been a month since he suited up. Now, yes, it was a shortened month in the month of February because of that 2-week break for the Four Nations, but he still missed a month of action. And prior to that, as we all know, he had already missed 2 months of action at the start of the season. So he's essentially missed 3 months out of the season due to injuries. So let's really dive into this. Speaking of how many games he's missed so far this current season, he's missed a total of 34 games just this season alone. He's only played in 17 games this season with a 6-6-3 record. And yeah, that's really bad and not looking good. People know his injury history and his injury proneness. And let's actually dive right into his injury hit. And it all starts essentially all the way back in 2018 is when he first really sustained a serious injury. It was October 2018, to be exact. He suffered a concussion and he ended up missing 23 games because of that concussion. Fast forward to February 5th, 2019, he suffers a knee injury. He ends up missing 9 games. Fast forward later that year, December 12th, 2019, he suffers another concussion. This time, he misses 6 games. 2020, obviously, everyone knows what happens what happened in 2020 with the pandemic. So fast forward to April 3rd, 2021, he ended up getting COVID. And then he ended up being out for 10 days due to contracting COVID-19. And then April 26th, a mere few weeks later, he suffered a lower body injury. He only missed 1 game for that. And then fast forward a little under a year later, January 20th, 2022, he ends up dealing with a second bout of COVID. This time he only ended up missing 4 games. And then fast forward to April 26th, 2022, he suffers a undisclosed injury and ends up missing 3 games. March 11th, 2024, he suffers a knee injury and he ends up missing 14 games. And then a little over a month later, again, another knee injury. Now, this could have been very well the same injury. He may have just re-aggravated it. And this was when he ended up playing that 1 playoff game against Nashville. and then he ended up missing the next 12 playoff games. I think I actually messed up here, as I believe he had a groin injury at one point. Yes, that lower body injury that I spoke of was actually a groin injury. The lower body injury that I mentioned, where was it? Missed my place. In 2023, that December 5th injury was the groin. So apologies for that. I thought I had it written down. So yeah, he ended up having that groin injury that forced him to miss 35 games. And then he had the knee injury, and then the second knee injury, or the same, like re-aggravation of the injury. And then on top of that knee injury, he ended up missing an additional 24 games to start this season. So on top of the 14 and then the 12, he missed an additional 24 games. So this popliteus knee injury was a very, very severe injury, and everyone knows the story by now on how it was a very rare injury, one that no goalie or sports athlete has ever sustained, and no one knew how to treat it, and it is not fixable via surgery. So fast forward to January 3rd, 2025, he ends up suffering a back injury, which ended up being merely back spasms, but he ended up missing 2 games because of that. And then February 8th, the game against Toronto, he ends up sustaining a lower body injury. Again, we still don't know what exactly the injury is, but up until this point, he has missed 8 games and counting, as I'm pretty sure that's going to turn into 9 on Tuesday, because we still have no word on his health. We've heard that he's skating on his own, which is a positive sign, I guess, but he still hasn't participated in a practice or skated with the team. And I'm beginning to think, we're in March now. We're less than 20 games from the end of the season, as I mentioned. Is it, and I know the Canucks are not wanting to push him, which is something that they shouldn't be doing. They shouldn't be pushing him. Let him heal on his own. But don't you think, and this is just my personal opinion, that you should just shut him down? Now, he may not like that, but that's because Demko is a competitor. He wants to play. He wants to come back and get back to his old self, especially with next season being his final contract year before he could potentially become a UFA, and he's going to want to prove himself. But I think they should just shut him down. Give him some extra time to get healthy. And even if the Canucks end up actually making the playoffs, you got Kevin Lankinen right now, who's playing solid for you. You got Seelovs as a backup option. I know Seelovs has not had the greatest of seasons so far this year. You've also got, if you can't rely on Seelovs, you've got Tolopilo, who you could give a crack. Maybe not during the playoffs, but maybe a game or two closer towards the end of the season. Maybe even Ty Young if you wanted to as well, if you did not have faith in Seelovs. But at the end of the day, I think the Canucks should, if they haven't already, seriously consider shutting him down. They did the same thing with Mikheyev a couple of years ago. Granted, he had a completely different injury that ended up requiring surgery, and he was essentially playing through it and wanting to wait before doing the surgery. It got to a point where he just had to get the surgery done and over with. Obviously, this is a different situation because we don't know if Demko's going to be needing surgery of any kind or any kind of procedure on it. I'm sure if he did, they would have said something by now. But clearly it's not an injury that requires that kind of action, as and granted, he was put on the IR, retroactive for the 23rd, I believe. But still, I think he should be shut down and be given an extra time to recover, get healthy, give him a longer offseason and then once he's able to get healthy, hopefully within a few months, he can start training to play next season. And then that way he gets a head start. He can train like the way that he wants to train. There's nothing holding him back like there was this current season where he was still dealing with that knee injury. And maybe Demko can get back to the Demko that we know that he can be, that he showed he could be a year ago, where he had a career year. He ended up having 35 wins, and he was a Vezina finalist. Had he not gotten injured, I mentioned in a previous video that he very well could have won the Vezina, and he had a real good shot. And then unfortunately, that injury happened, and it was devastating. I really feel for the guy, as he's struggled with these injuries these last few seasons, and we know he's one of the best goaltenders in the league. And he's had these injuries that have held him back from achieving his full potential, which is heartbreaking. So yeah, that's my personal opinion on what the Canucks should do. Now, I'm not sure if the media has ever really approached the Canucks or asked them, hey, have you guys considered shutting him down and resting him, letting him get healthy? Maybe as the days go by, maybe they might pose the question, but I wanted to pose it to you guys and then just get us really thinking about it, as, like I mentioned, less than 20 games left in the season. He's already missed 34, and there's a really good chance that Demko may not even hit 20 games played this season, which would be the lowest he's had since his rookie year, or earlier on in his career when he first moved up to the Canucks. And yeah, that's my opinion on this. As I mentioned before, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. Do you guys agree with me? Or do you guys think that he could be back within a week or so? But that also poses the question too, should they even let him play when he is supposedly healed from this recent injury? Do they want Demko getting hurt again? As that could very well happen. He could play a game, maybe two, and get hurt all over again, whether it's the knee, groin, who knows what. There is that risk. He could injure himself again and be out even longer, and it could be devastating for the team. So why not just shut him down and then avoid that risk? But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you're not subscribed to the Line Change, as I always say, if you want to keep up to date on all things Canucks on this channel, and if you'd like to see more content from this channel, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. You really help out the channel. And then if you're listening and watching to this on Spotify, go ahead and leave a comment. And if you head on over to the Line Change's Twitter account, I'm actually going to post a poll basically asking this very same question. Do you guys think the Canucks should shut down Demko? I'll post a poll on Twitter. You guys can go ahead and vote for it. I'm going to leave a link to his injury history. It shows a transaction history as well, but I found it and I thought it was very intriguing, especially reading all these injuries that he's had since 2018. So I'm going to leave a link in the description below so you guys can take a look at that. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.